Hey, welcome to the Reading Fall Street Faire 2022. We're real excited for this festive day, but also a very commemorative day. Today is also the 21st anniversary of September 11th. So we've got some nice words that we'd like to share with you. And I'd like to introduce the Reading Chief of Police, Dave Clark.
Thank you, everyone. For those of you who know me, know I usually don't need a microphone to talk to people, so I'll try not to yell into the microphone this time. When most people reflect on September 11th, they can recall exactly what they did that day, who they called first, where they were. When I think about and reflect back on September 11th, I think about a particular day that happened after. Like most people, I was very angry that day, upset, and I felt the need to do something, anything. When the Reading Police Department announced that they were looking for volunteers to go down and help out at Ground Zero and to assist with operations down there, I immediately jumped on the opportunity and volunteered. I was selected to go with then Chief Cormier. We had no idea what we'd be doing, but we didn't matter. We were willing to go down just to do something, anything to help. We spent several days down there transporting counselors and clergy around to different locations, from Ground Zero itself to family and counseling centers. Wherever they needed to go, whatever they needed, we made sure it happened. On the second day that we were there, we were at Ground Zero itself. We were driving a counselor around that day and he had to go speak to some people down at the site. As we were waiting for him, I entered the location where the Twin Towers once stood. As I was standing there, I looked off to my left and noticed a building. The wall of the building was completely gone. And you could see into all the offices. In one office in particular, I looked up and you could see the desk, the filing cabinets, everything was still on top of the desk. Papers were blowing in the wind, and one thing I remember is focusing on a fan that was slowly spinning and rotating in the wind. I have no idea how long I stood there just looking off to my left at this office. One of the firefighters walked up to me. All he said to me is he pointed to that office and said, "You know that's the 7th floor, right?" And it was that particular moment that I looked around, realized I was standing on top of the pile where the Twin Towers used to be, 7 stories up, looking even within a building. And I'll never forget that day. And anytime I reflect back on September 11th, that's what I remember. The sheer total devastation, the loss down there. And that's what I'll always remember when I reflect on that day. So when you reflect and you think about today, just remember the people we lost, people, the loved ones, how you felt that day, and always remember them. I'd like to introduce now the Reading Community Concert Band who will perform the national anthem.
On a God, tree, said, harp.
I'd now like to introduce Reading's Fire Chief, Chief Greg Burns.
Thank you, Chief Clark. Thank you all for coming today and for the Rotary for sponsoring this event. I believe it's important for us to remember and respect the tragic loss of life that occurred on September 11th. 2001, now 21 years later. We know the impacts of the events of 9/11 are still being felt today. When I think about 9/11, like many of you, my memories are vivid. I remember clearly where I was and what a beautiful September day it was with cool, crisp air. I think about the tragic loss of 2,983 lives. I think about the loss of 2,753 lives at the Twin Towers. That included 343 firefighters and paramedics, 23 New York City police officers, and 37 Port Authority police officers. I think about the passengers and crew on the 4 planes. I think about the loss of life at the Pentagon, and about the Reading firefighters that traveled to New York to attend funerals of firefighters that had died in the attack. There were so many funerals that occurred. The Fire Department of New York, the largest fire department in the world, had trouble having proper coverage at each of the funerals, and they needed additional help to attend. I also think about the incredible bravery that occurred that day. The heroes on Flight 93 that fought against the terrorists and gave their lives doing so. I think about the bravery of the firefighters and police officers that went into the Twin Towers to evacuate people, and those that fought the fire and searched the wreckage at the Pentagon. I also think about the bravery of those in the military and those that enlisted in the military both before and after 9/11. Please join me in a moment of silence for those that lost their lives that day. Thank you. Now, John Douglas has a few words.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is John Douglas. I'm the co-president of the Reading Rotary Club along with Sheila Clark. And I am here to go ahead and open the festivities for the day from 12 to 5. And before I officially open the Fall Street Fair, the 14th year, by the way, I cannot do it without thanking so many people, but I'll keep it short. We couldn't run an event like this without the unbelievable cooperation between the Reading Rotary Club and the town of Reading. It takes months to plan this event, and not only is it members of our club that do it, it's also people who are non-members who step up and help us as well. But it starts from the top, and with the cooperation with the town, and unfortunately the town manager, Fidel, is running a little late and he couldn't be up here with us today, but thanks to Fidel and the town manager and his guidance and helping us through the planning of this wonderful event. So much goes to him. I'd like to thank the police chief, Dave Clark, and the fire chief, Greg Burns. A special thank you to the Reading Honor Guard for being here today to celebrate 9/11. And the wonderful words that they spoke is because, 9/11 might have been 22 years ago, but it feels like it was yesterday. We all lost somebody we know. We all feel for the families and the friends and everyone who experienced the loss in 9/11. But today is a day for us to celebrate and to have fun and to all come together and have a good time. And that's what I think all the people, all the lives that were lost in 9/11 would want us to do today. So let's all have a great time, and let's have fun, and let's celebrate our town, our businesses, and our community. I'd also like to thank, from the Department of Public Works, the head, Jane Kinsella, Jeff Cummings, who is head of DPW for today, his wonderful staff for putting this all together for us, putting up the signs, picking up the trash, taking care of everything for us, all the details. And Town Hall Director of Economic Development, Erin Schaefer. Couldn't do this without Erin. She's wonderful. The entire Fall Streets Fair Committee, head up by John Fudo, who's the Executive Director of the Reading YMCA. And John, couldn't do this without your leadership and putting it all together. And I'd also like a special shout out to the Reading Concert Band for being here with us today and doing a wonderful job. And they're going to be here for plenty more to listen. We also have 2 other stages in town with many other events going on. So I hope you all enjoy it. And I would just like to say, here's to opening the 14th Annual Reading Fall Street Fair. Have a great time, and thank you all for being here today.